Konkazu, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another stream. Today we're going to be doing some reading. And, I don't really know what exactly we want to read here, but I was going to read fairy tales. However, if you guys have cursed things you want me to read, I will do my best to voice act them and maybe have some fun with random shenanigans like that. But that is the plan for today. If you guys have anything you want me to read, tell me what to search or link me something. I'm sitting in my piano room, but we are not going to be playing the piano. Are you going to voice act female characters too? I could try. I have... Alright, heads up, I have no... Do not expect my voice acting to be good. It's hella late for me, so I'll be listening to you as I fall asleep. Yes, that is the plan. If you've had a long, hard day working, or going to school, or anything with, I don't know, homework, other activities, maybe my reading will put you to sleep. What do you say? Would love to hear you read how do you pronounce that? Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, fairly short poem. I know somebody yesterday, who was it, said to read Edgar Allan Poe. Just gonna listen to this also late for you. Yeah, for some of you it's probably 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I do not mind if you fall asleep to my book reading. The pronunciation was correct, so Ozymandias. Okay. The B movie script. Didn't Tomo already read the B movie script? I was there for like 20 minutes, just cracking up. He already read the B movie script, so I don't know if I want to do that one as well. Can you read Go the F sleep? What is go to? Let me search it up. There's actually a book called Go. All right, do I have to buy this? Can I read this without buying it somewhere? Yeah. I see it. Yes, there is. Send me the script. Send me the book, please. Another short suggestion. Please remember. It is a short meme text. Okay, let me just start with... Alright, so the first person was how do you pronounce your name? Johan? Okay, so you said Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I'll start with this one then. And I know when Nen did the reading, he also read a lot of meme stuff. I remember there was one about a squirrel with the acorns or something. The nuts. Was that a copy pasta? How do I send the book to you? Can you give me I think the link might be... What is it? The link might not work on YouTube. It might be counted as spam. So can you just, I don't know, tell me, can you type out the website without putting in like the address? And then I could probably find it off of that. Hello, Kasune. Hello. Forgot to say hello back to everybody that gave me konkasu. Sorry about that. But yes, hello. Thank you all for stopping by. All right, let me look up Ozymandias text. It's a poem, right? Short poem. We'll read this first. Okay, so Johan, second pronunciation was correct. Okay. Poetry Foundation. Oh, it's really, really short. Shelley's Poetry and Prose from 1977. Okay. Marshmallow? Model? Oh, yeah. I think that would work too if you want to send me to... let me check my marshmallows then. If you want to send the address through to my marshmallows, and then I can look through there, that would also work. I haven't done a marshmallow stream in a while, so there are questions that I haven't answered in about, what, a month? A few weeks? Oh, check Discord? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we'll start with the first one that was suggested by Johan, Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, and then next we'll read Go the Fuck to Sleep. I need... where was this book in my life? I need it. Does it help? Has it helped anybody? Okay, let's start. I think I might keep the BGM on. Do you guys want BGM on or off? I feel like having it on is also relaxing, but if you guys want it off, I'm fine with turning it off. So should I make a poll? Off? Okay. I'm just gonna make a poll real quick then. Off with reverb. You want me to put reverb on? I mean, I could. On, off. Make a short poll. On is okay, off with reverb. Either's good, off. Nice, you made it. Oh, hello Persephone. Welcome. You made it in time. Hopefully, this is gonna be so cursed, I think. On, you're already falling asleep with it on. Okay. I might do, if it's really 50-50, I think I will do a few on, a few off, and that's okay. We will, if it's mixed, very gray, then I will just appease both audiences with on and off. Konkazu, hello Zara, Konkazu to you. Okay, so Johan, since you asked for this one, you said on is okay, so I will keep the BGM on for yours. It's a PDF link. Oh, I already got it. I got it. Rinny sent it to me for Go the Fuck to Sleep, so I'll read that after. But for Johan's request of Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, I will keep the BGM on. So I've not read this before. Alright, what voice do I read this? Should I just read it? I think I'll read it normally first, and then once I get an idea of the work, maybe I'll read it again and try a different voice. But here we go. Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip a sneer of cold command. Tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on those lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." Wait, what happened? I mean, that's like really, really short. I don't even know if I read it good, read it well, read it good. What is the right way to, is it visage? I don't know I think it's English is hard. Visage, right? Okay, I don't know. Oh my god, the bots are coming. The bots are coming to my reading stream? Why? Why? You're not welcome here. You just keep going. That was beautiful, thank you. The only difference I would make if you ever read it again, you have to sound more harsh when you say the line on the stone. Alright, I'll do it again. I will do it again. Bots love the ASMR. Want a bedtime story? Since this is so short, I'll do it again. I gotta, yes, act more mighty on the words on the pedestal, right? Bots want to sleep too. You know, that's fair enough. They are endlessly programmed to keep spamming. So, you know, if you think about it that way, it's kind of sad. Alright, I'll read it one more time and try to sound more harsh, as Johan put it. Konkazu, I just want to listen while I draw. Hello, Konkazu Hui. No problem. Put me on in the background. I will just be reading stuff here. Because the words are from a conceited dictator. Alright. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command. Tell that its sculptor well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." How's that? Not bad? Hopefully not bad. Sweet, you are so good. My voice acting is subpar, but thank you. I have no idea how to VA. Okay, time to read. What a drastic jump. We're going to now read Go to Fuck to Sleep by Adam Mansbach. Adam's Manbach? Mansbach? I have no idea how to pronounce this man's last name. I am sorry. It's like Bach the composer, but with a man's in front. Mansbach. Mansbach. Botch. I don't know. I'm sorry, Adam. I am sorry. Oh, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you for the $1 tip of coffee for keeping me awake while I put all of you to sleep. Anyways. Perfect. Just in time for Go the Fuck to Sleep. I've never read this. Alright. Shall we begin? Let's begin. My language teacher would have given you full points. Your language teacher knows what's up. Thank you. Men bak him. Women want him. Oh my god. Oh my god. You're doing well, some. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Alright. Let us start with the story Go the Fuck to Sleep. The story is for Vivian, without whom none of this would be possible. Alright, page 1. The cats nestle close to their kittens now. The lambs have laid down with the sheep. You're cozy and warm in your bed, my dear. Please go the fuck to sleep. The windows are dark in the town, child. The whales huddle down in the deep. I'll read you one very last book if you swear you'll go the fuck to sleep. The eagles who soar through the sky are at rest, and the creatures who crawl, run, and creep. I know you're not thirsty. That's bullshit. Stop lying. Lie the fuck down, my darling, and sleep. The wind whispers soft through the grass hun. The field mice, they make not a peep. It's been 38 minutes already. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Go to sleep. All the kids from daycare are in dreamland. The froggy has made his last sleep. Hell no, you can't go to the bathroom. You know where you can go? The fuck to sleep. I can't take this serious, so funny. The owls fly forth from the treetops. Through the air they soar and they sweep. A hot crimson rage fills my heart, love. For real, shut the fuck up and sleep. The cubs and the lions are snoring, wrapped in a big snuggly heap. How's it you can do all this other great shit, but you can't lie the fuck down and sleep? The seeds slumber beneath the earth now, and the crops that the farmers will reap. No more questions, this interview's over. I've got 2 words for you, kid. Fucking sleep. The tiger reclines in the simmering jungle. The sparrow has silenced her cheep. Fuck your stuffed beer, I'm not getting you shit. Close your eyes, cut the crap, sleep. The flowers doze low in the meadows, and high on the mountains so steep. My life is a failure. I'm a shitty ass parent. Stop fucking with me, please, and sleep. The giant pangolins of Madagascar are snoozing as I lie here and openly weep. Sure, fine, whatever. I'll bring you some milk. Who the fuck cares? You're not gonna sleep. This room is all I can remember. The furniture crappy and cheap. You win, you escape, you run down the hall, as I nod the fuck off to sleep. Blary and dazed I awaken, to find your eyes shut so I keep. My fingers crossed tight as I tiptoe away, and pray that you're fucking asleep. We're finally watching our movie. Popcorn's in the microwave. Beep. Oh shit, god damn it. You've gotta be kidding me. Come on, go the fuck back to sleep. Wow. What a great short story we have here. Oh, I couldn't, holy shit, like by the third page. Oh, I kid you not, I can barely fall asleep as you read this because you're just holding in your laugh or your wheeze. It's so funny. Why is this so, it's so good too, the rhymes. How's that, Kaza? Thank you for requesting this. That was great. I've never read this before, but it was so funny. Go the fuck to every parent ever when you have a newborn, right? Oh, Perfectly Sane Cultist, thank you for the super chat. Loads of Weird Tales magazine archived on the internet. Also read The Tomb of Lovecraft. Wait, is Loads of Weird Tales... Oh, wait, magazine archived on the internet. Is that a magazine? Wait, Loads of Weird Tales. Let me see. If this isn't British humor, it's damn close. Hey, I feel anybody can relate to that, right? The kids. What is NOK? Some currency that I am unfamiliar with. Let me search it up. It is Norwegian krone. That is how much? NOK is Norwegian krone. Weird Tales was a pulp magazine. Okay. So should I read The Tomb by Lovecraft? Okay. Let me search this up. The Tomb short story. It's a fictional short story by H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. I think I have it right here. Oh, this isn't... It's short, but definitely longer than the other two, right? The Tomb. Read The Tomb. By H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. Is this the... Did anybody else request something? Do you want BGM on or off? Perfectly Sane Cultist as I read The Tomb. As you are the one with the request, I will listen to your request, whatever on or off. Kroner? Wait, is it Norwegian krone or Norwegian kroner? You want it off? Okay. BGM is now off. Maybe for horror off. Oh, is this horror? You know, horror is like... Reading horror is not bad at all. Because there's no jump scares or anything. So I didn't know this was horror, but that's fine. The Tomb by H.P. Lovecraft. In relating the circumstances which have led to find... Wait. It's Krona? Oh, for Norwegian. Oh, my bad. Okay, sorry. Starting over. In relating the circumstances which have led to my confinement within this refuge for the demented, I am aware that my present position will create a natural doubt of the authenticity of my narrative. It is an unfortunate fact that the bulk of humanity is too limited in its mental vision to weigh with patience and intelligence those isolated phenomena, seen and felt only by a psychologically sensitive few, which lie outside its common experience. Men of broader intellect know that there is no sharp distinction betwixt the real and the unreal, that all things appear as they do only by virtue of the delicate individual physical and mental media through which we are made conscious of them. But the prosaic materialism of the majority condemns as madness the flashes of supersight which penetrate the common veil of obvious empiricism. My name is Jervis Dudley. And from earliest childhood, I have been a dreamer and a visionary. Oh, we should join Sun Dream. Wealthy beyond the necessity of a commercial life, and temperamentally unfitted for the formal studies and social recreations of my acquaintances, I have dwelt ever in realms apart from the visible world, spending my youth and adolescence in ancient and little-known books, and in roaming the fields and groves of the region near my ancestral home. I did not think what I read in these books or saw in these fields and groves was exactly what other boys read and saw there, but of this I must say little, since detailed speech would but confirm those cruel slanders upon my intellect, which I sometimes overhear from the whispers of the stealthy attendants around me. It is sufficient for me to relate events without analyzing causes. I have said that I dwelt apart from the visible world, but I have not said what. I have not said that I dwelt alone. This no human creature may do, for lacking the fellowship of the living, he inevitably draws upon the companionship of things that are not, or are no longer living. Close by my home there lies a singular wooded hollow, in whose twilight deeps I spent most of my time, reading, thinking, and dreaming. Down its moss-covered slopes, my first steps of infancy were taken, and around its grotesquely gnarled oak trees, my first fancies of boyhood were woven. Well did I come to know the presiding dryads of those trees, and often have I watched their wild dances in the struggling beams of a waning moon. But of these things I must not now speak. I will tell only of the lone tomb in the darkest of the hillside thickets, the deserted tomb of the Hydes, an old and exalted family whose last direct descendant had been laid within its black recesses many decades before my birth. The vault to which I refer is of ancient granite, weathered and discolored by the mists and dampness of generations. Excavated back into the hillside, the structure is visible only at the entrance. The door, a ponderous and forbidding slab of stone, hangs upon rusted iron hinges and is fastened ajar in a queerly sinister way by means of heavy iron chains and padlocks, according to a gruesome fashion of half a century ago. The abode of the race whose scions are here inurned had once crowned the declivity which holds the tomb, but had long since fallen victim to the flames which sprang up from a disastrous stroke of lightning. Of the midnight storm which destroyed this gloomy mansion, the older inhabitants of the region sometimes speak in hushed and uneasy voices, alluding to what they call divine wrath, in a manner that in later years vaguely increased the always strong fascination which I felt for the forest-darkened sepulchre. One man only had perished in the fire. When the last of the Hydes was buried in this place of shade and stillness, the sad urnful of ashes had come from a distant land, to which the family had repaired when the mansion burned down. No one remains to lay flowers before the granite portal, and few care to brave the depressing shadows which seem to linger strangely about the water-worn stones. I shall never forget the afternoon when first I stumbled upon the half-hidden house of death. It was in midsummer. The alchemy of nature transmutes the sylvan landscape to one vivid and almost homogeneous mass of green, when the senses are well nigh intoxicated with the surging seas of moist verdure and the subtly indefinable odors of the soil and vegetation. In such surroundings, the mind loses its perspective. Time and space become trivial and unreal, and echoes of a forgotten prehistoric past beat insistently upon the enthralled consciousness. All day, I had been wandering through the mystic groves of the hollow, thinking thoughts I need not discuss and conversing with things I need not name. In years a child of 10, I had seen and heard many wonders unknown to the throng, and was oddly aged in certain respects. When upon forcing my way between two savage clumps of briars, I suddenly encountered the entrance of the vault. I had no knowledge of what I discovered. The dark blocks of granite, the door so curiously ajar, and the funeral carvings above the arch, aroused in me no associations of mournful or terrible character. Of graves and tombs I knew and imagined much, but had on account of my peculiar temperament been kept from all personal contact with churchyards and cemeteries. This strange stone house on the woodland slope was to me only a source of interest and speculation, and its cold, damp interior, into which I vainly peered through the aperture, so tantalizingly felt, contained for me no hint of death or decay. But in that instant of curiosity was born the madly unreasoning desire which has brought me to this hell of confinement. Spurred on by a voice which must have come from the hideous soul of the forest, I resolved to enter the beckoning gloom in spite of the ponderous chains which barred my passage. Is this Darkwood? Is this Darkwood? In the waning light of day, I alternately rattled the rusty impediments with a view to throwing wide the stone door, and essayed to squeeze my slight form through the space which was already provided. But neither plan met with success. At first curious, I was now frantic. And when in the thickening twilight I returned to my home, I had sworn to the 100 gods of the grove that at any cost I would someday force an entrance to the black, chilly depths that seemed calling out to me. The physician with the iron gray beard, who comes each day to my room once, told a visitor that this decision marked the beginning of a pitiful monomania. But I will leave final judgment to my readers when they shall have learned all. The months following my discovery were spent in futile attempts to force the complicated padlock of the slightly open vault, and in carefully guarded inquiries regarding the nature and history of the structure. With the traditionally receptive ears of the small boy, I learned much, though an habitual secretiveness caused me to tell no one of my information or my resolve. It is perhaps worth mentioning that I was not at all surprised or terrified on learning of the nature of the vault. My rather original ideas regarding life and death had caused me to associate the cold clay with the breathing body in a vague fashion, and I felt that the great and sinister family of the burned down mansion was in some way represented within the stone space I sought to explore. Mumbled tales of the weird rites and godless reveals of bygone years in the ancient hall gave to me a new and potent interest in the tomb, before whose door I would sit for hours at a time each day. Once I thrust a candle within the nearly closed entrance, but could see nothing save a slight damp stone, steps leading downward. The odor of the place repelled yet bewitched me. I felt I had known this before, in a past remote, beyond all recollection, beyond even my tendency of the body I now possess. The year after I first beheld the tomb, I stumbled upon a worm-eaten translation of Plutarch's Lives in the book-filled attic of my home. Reading the life of Theseus, I was much impressed by that passage, telling of the great stone beneath which the boyish hero was to find his tokens of destiny whenever he should become old enough to lift its enormous weight. This legend had the effect of dispelling my keenest impatience to enter the vault, for it made me feel that the time was not yet ripe. Later, I told myself I should grow to a strength and ingenuity which might enable me to unfasten the heavily chained door with ease. But until then, I would do better by conforming to what seemed the will of fate. Accordingly, my watches by the dank portal became less persistent, and much of my time was spent in other, though equally strange pursuits. I would sometimes rise very quietly in the night, stealing out to walk in those churchyards and places of burial from which I had been kept by my parents. What I did there I may not say, for I am not now sure of the reality of certain things, but I know that on that day, after such a nocturnal ramble, I would often astonish those about me with my knowledge of topics almost forgotten for many generations. It was after a night like this that I shocked the community with a queer conceit about the burial of the rich and celebrated Squire Brewster, a maker of local history who was interred in 1711, and whose slate headstone, bearing a graven skull and crossbones, was slowly crumbling to powder. In a moment of childish imagination, I vowed not only that the undertaker, Goodman Simpson, had stolen the silver-buckled shoes, silken hose, and Satan's small clothes of the deceased before burial, but that the squire himself, not fully inanimate, had turned twice in his mound-covered coffin on the day after interment. But the idea of entering the tomb never left my thoughts, being indeed stimulated by the unexpected genealogical discovery that my own maternal ancestry possessed at least a slight link with the supposedly extinct family of the Hydes. Last of my paternal race, I was likewise the last of this older and more mysterious line. I began to feel that the tomb was mine, and to look forward with hot eagerness to the time when I might pass within that stone door and down those slimy stone steps in the dark. I now formed the habit of listening very intently at the slightly open portal, choosing my favorite hours of midnight, stillness for the odd vigil. By the time I came of age, I had made a small clearing in the thicket before the mold-stained facade of the hillside, allowing the surrounding vegetation to encircle and overhang the space like the walls and the roof of a sylvan bower. This bower was my temple, the fastened door to my shrine, and here I would lie outstretched on the mossy ground, thinking strange thoughts and dreaming strange dreams. The night of the first revelation was a sultry one. I must have fallen asleep from fatigue, for it was with a distinct sense of awakening that I heard the voices. Of those tones and accents I hesitate to speak, of their quality I will not speak, but I may say that they presented certain uncanny differences in vocabulary, pronunciation, and mode of utterance. Every shade of New England dialect, from the uncouth syllables of the Puritan colonists to the precise rhetoric of 50 years ago, seemed represented in that shadowy colloquy. Though it was only later that I noticed the fact. At the time, indeed, my attention was distracted from this matter by another phenomenon, a phenomenon so fleeting that I cannot take oath upon its reality. I barely fancied that as I awoke, a light had been hurriedly extinguished within the sunken sepulchre. I do not think that I was either astounded or panic-stricken, but I know that I was greatly and permanently changed that night. Upon returning home, I went with much directness to a rotting chest in the attic, wherein I found the key which next day unlocked with ease the barrier I had so long stormed in vain. It was in the soft glow of late afternoon that I first entered the vault on the abandoned slope. A spell was upon me, and my heart leaped with the exultation I can but ill describe. As I closed the door behind me and ascended the dripping steps by the light of my lone candle, I seemed to know the way, and though the candle sputtered with the stifling reek of the place, I felt singularity at home in the musty Channel House air. Looking about me, I beheld many marble slabs bearing coffins, or the remains of coffins. Some of these were sealed and intact, but others had nearly vanished, leaving the silver handles and plates isolated amidst certain curious heaps of whitish dust. Upon one plate I read the name of Sir Geoffrey Hyde, who had come from Sussex in 1640 and died here a few years later. In a conspicuous alcove was one fairly well preserved and untenanted casket, adorned with a single name which brought to me both a smile and a shudder. An odd impulse caused me to climb upon the broad slab, extinguish my candle, and lie down within the vacant box. In the gray light of dawn, I staggered from the vault and locked the chain of the door behind me. I was no longer a young man, though but 21 winters had chilled my bodily frame. Early rising villagers who observed my homeward progress looked at me strangely, and marveled at the signs of revelry which they saw in one whose life was known to be sober and solitary. I did not appear before my parents till after a long and refreshing sleep. Henceforward, I haunted the tomb each night, seeing, hearing, and doing things I must never reveal. My speech, always susceptible to environmental influences, was the first thing to succumb to the change, and my suddenly acquired archaism of diction was soon remarked upon. Later, a queer boldness and recklessness came into my demeanor, till I unconsciously grew to possess the bearing of a man of the world despite my lifelong seclusion. My formerly silent tongue waxed voluble with the easy grace of a Chesterfield or the godless cynicism of a Rochester. I displayed a peculiar erudition, utterly unlike the fantastic, monkish lore over which I had pored in youth, and covered the fly-leaves of my books with facile impromptu epigrams which brought upon suggestions of Gay, Prior, and the sprightliest of the Augustan wits and rimsters. One morning at breakfast, I came close to disaster by declaiming in palpably licorice accents an effusion of 18th century bacchanalian mirth, a bit of Georgian playfulness never recorded in a book, which ran something like this. Come hither, my lads, with your tankards of ale, and drink to the present before it shall fail. Pile each on your platter a mountain of beef, for 'tis eating and drinking that bring us relief. So fill up your glass, for life will soon pass. When you're dead, you'll never drink to your king or your lass. Anacron had a red nose, so they say. What's a red nose if you're happy and gay? Gad split me, I'd rather be red whilst I'm here, than white as a lily and dead half a year. So Betty, my miss, come give me a kiss. In hell there's no innkeeper's daughter like this. Young Harry, propped up just as straight as he's able, will soon lose his wig and slip under the table. But fill up your goblets and pass them around, better under the table than under the ground. So reveal and chaff as you thirstily quaff, under 6 feet of dirt, 'tis less easy to laugh. The fiends strike me blue, I'm scarce able to walk, and damn me if I can stand upright or talk. Here, landlord, bid Betty to summon a chair. I'll tramp home for a while, for my wife is not there. So lend me a hand. I'm not able to stand, but I'm game whilst I linger on top of the land. About this time, I conceived my present fear of fire and thunderstorms. Previously indifferent to such things, I had now an unspeakable horror of them, and would retire to the innermost recesses of the house whenever the heavens threatened an electrical display. A favorite haunt of mine during the day was the ruined cellar of the mansion that had burned down, and in fancy I would picture the structure as it had been in its prime. On one occasion, I startled a villager by leading him confidently to a shallow subcellar, of whose existence I seemed to know in spite of the fact that it had been unseen and forgotten for many generations. At last came that which I had long feared. My parents, alarmed at the altered manner and appearance of their only son, commenced to exert over my movements a kindly espionage which threatened to result in disaster. I had told no one of my visits to the tomb, having guarded my secret purpose with religious zeal since childhood, but now I was forced to exercise care in threading the mazes of the wooded hollow that I might throw off a possible pursuer. My key to the vault I kept suspended from a cord about my neck, its presence known only to me. I never carried out of the sculpture any of the things I came upon whilst within its walls. One morning, as I emerged from the damp tomb and fastened the chain of the portal with none too steady hand, I beheld in an adjacent thicket the dreaded face of a watcher. Surely the end was near, for my bower was discovered, and the objective of my nocturnal journeys revealed. The man did not accost me, so I hastened home in an effort to overhear what he might report to my careworn father. Were my sojourns beyond the chained door about to be proclaimed to the world? Imagine my delighted astonishment on hearing the spy inform my parents in a cautious whisper that I had spent the night in the bower outside the tomb, my sleep-filmed eyes fixed upon the crevice where the padlock portal stood ajar. By what miracle had the watchers been thus deluded? I was now convinced that a supernatural agency protected me. Made bold by this heaven-sent circumstance, I began to resume perfect openness in going to the vault, confident that no one could witness my entrance. For a week, I tasted to the full the joys of that charnel conviviality which I must not describe. When the thing happened, and I was borne away by this accursed abode of sorrow and monotony. I should not have ventured out that night, for the taint of thunder was in the clouds, and a hellish phosphorescence rose from the rank swamp at the bottom of the hollow. The call of the dead, too, was different. Instead of the hillside tomb, it was a charred cellar on the crest of the slope, was upon the plain before the ruin. I beheld in the misty moonlight a thing I had always vaguely expected. The mansion, gone for a century, was once more reared its stately height to the raptured vision, every window ablaze with the splendor of many candles. Up the long drive rolled the coaches of the Boston gentry, whilst on foot came a numerous assemblage of powdered exquisites from the neighboring mansions. With this throng I mingled, though I knew I belonged with the hosts rather than with the guests. Inside the hall were music, laughter, and wine on every hand. Several faces I recognized, though I should have known them better had they been shriveled or eaten away by death and decomposition. Amidst a wild and reckless throng, I was the wildest and most abandoned. Gay blasphemy poured in torrents from my lips, and in my shocking sallies I heeded no law of God, man, or nature. Suddenly, a peal of thunder, resonant even above the din of the swinish revelry, clave gusts of heat engulfed the house, and the roisterers, struck with terror at the descent of a calamity which seemed to transcend the bounds of unguided nature, fled shrinking into the night. I alone remained, riveted to my seat by a groveling fear which I had never felt before. And then a second horror took possession of my soul. Burnt alive to ashes, my body dispersed by the four winds, I might never lie in the tomb of the Hydes. Was not my coffin prepared for me? Had I not a right to rest till eternity among the descendants of Sir Geoffrey Hyde? I could claim my heritage of death, even though my soul goes seeking through the ages for another corporeal tenement to represent it on that vacant slab in the alcove of the vault. Jervis Hyde should never share the sad fate of Polynerus. As the phantom of the burning house faded, I found myself screaming and struggling madly in the arms of two men, one of whom was the spy who had followed me to the tomb. Rain was pouring down in torrents, and upon the southern horizon were flashes of the lightning that had so lately passed over our heads. My father, his face lined with sorrow, stood by as I shouted my demands to be laid within the tomb, frequently admonishing my captors to treat me as gently as they could. A blackened circle on the floor of the ruined cellar told of a violent stroke from the heavens, and from this spot a group of curious villagers with lanterns were prying a small box of antique workmanship which the thunderbolt had brought to light. Seizing my futile and now objectless writhing, I watched the spectators as they viewed the treasure trove, and was permitted to share in their discoveries. The box, whose fastenings were broken by the stroke which had unearthed it, contained many papers and objects of value. But I had eyes for one thing alone. It was a porcelain miniature of a young man in a smartly curled bagwig and bore the initials J.H. The face was such that as I gazed, I might well have been studying my mirror. On the following day, I was brought to this room with the barred windows, but I have been kept informed of certain things through an aged and simple-minded servitor, for whom I bore a fondness in infancy, and who, like me, loves the churchyard. What I have dared relate of my experiences within the vault has brought me only pitying smiles. My father, who visits me quite frequently, declares that at no time did I pass the chain portal, and swears that the rusted padlock had not been touched for 50 years when he examined it. He even says that all of the village knew of my journeys to the tomb, and that I was often watched as I slept in the bower outside the grim facade, my half-open eyes fixed on the crevice that leads to the interior. Against these assertions, I have no tangible proof to offer, since my key to the padlock was lost in the struggle on that night of horrors. The strange things of the past, which I learned during those nocturnal meetings with the dead he dismisses as the fruits of my lifelong and omnivorous browsing amongst the ancient volumes of the family library. Had it not been for my old servant Hiram, I should have by this time become quite convinced of my madness. But Hiram, loyal to the last, has held faith in me, and has done that which impels me to make public at least a part of my story. A week ago, he burst open the lock which chains the door of the tomb, perpetually ajar, and descended with a lantern into the murky depths. On a slab in an alcove, he found an old but empty coffin whose tarnished plate bears the single word Jervis. In that coffin and in that vault, they have promised me I shall be buried. That was pretty long. That was a long one. Holy moly. I need to drink water after that. That sounds like something I would read in an English class back in high school. Oh my god, my voice. If you like that, Kazu, how about Pickman's model? Pickman's model. Let me check. Pickman's model. I'm gonna turn on my BGM again while I search this up. Oh, it's also by H.P. Lovecraft, right? Yeah, seems like it's by the same person. A short creepypasta that I like is White with Red. Longer than you remembered. Maybe I just read it a bit slow. But sure, let's go with Pickman's model first, and then White with Red. Also, Konkazu, Solace, hello, welcome. Dan C, you said what? Hi Kazu, you really have creepypasta narrator's voice. Do I? That's I don't know how to feel about that. Good reading, thank you. Hello, Teitoku. Good afternoon. How's the reading going? I have gone through, what, 3 so far? 3 readings so far. 3. Was it 3 or 4? No, 3. That was the 3rd one, I believe. After the wonderful short story, Go the Fuck to Sleep. We can do Pickman's model now, I think. And then... Is Pickman's model also horror? Or more creepypasta like? Or is this something else? Does H.P. Lovecraft only make mostly right horror? Or... I'm not familiar with their works. H.P. Lovecraft was an American writer of weird science, fantasy, and horror fiction. Lovecraft is best known for his creation of Cthulhu mythos. Born in Providence, Rhode Island, spent most of his life in New England. Oh my god, wow. Wait, he died so young. That's sad. Most of Lovecraft's stuff is horror. Okay. Got it. No worries. So we have Pickman's model. And white is white with red. Is this a, you said this is a short copy pasta? White with red. Oh. This is pretty terrifying. Or sorry, not terrifying. Short. Sorry. Brain not working. All right. So continue with Lovecraft probably, and then we'll read the short creepypasta. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Let me close this, and yeah, this should be fine, I think. This website that I read the first one off of has all of them, or has a lot of Lovecraft stuff. So I think that's how much did Lovecraft even write? Like a lot? I don't know. Alright. He famously said I should not care in the least for immortality. I mean, I agree with that though. No, why would you want to be... Yeah, immortality sounds pretty terrible. You know? But maybe some people... I think the wish for immortality comes with... what do you say? Feeling... Honestly, I don't know if there's... I'm sure there are people who would like to be or have immortality, but maybe that's a younger, when you're a younger... I don't know if you're old, if you're super old, would you want it? I think for people that have felt like they have accomplished all they want in their life, or feel like they have done something in their life, would not want, would be fine with not being immortal. But then there are also people who are like crazy about power, and I'm sure if they had a position where they don't want to let go of it, they may wish for immortality. Get Lovecraft pilled, embrace cosmic horror and the fear of seafood. There's no way I would... seafood's so good. I would never fear seafood. Why would you fear seafood? Unless you're allergic or something. But yeah. Another writer whose language is super fun to read is Oscar Wilde. I do not know which short text to recommend from him. Okay. Rosa, hello. Still hoping that I can upload my consciousness to a network or something. What is this? Are you gonna be real life Soma? I mean, that's maybe a possibility. Time to clone ourselves. Dude was terrified of the ocean. Also of certain skin tones, unfortunately. Oof. Ow. We'll blame it on his I don't know what, his time period? His ignorance, maybe? I mean, I don't think I'm not... what do you say? Scared of the ocean? It's more you're scared of the deep, deep ocean where you can't see anything. Because, I mean, people are scared of what they don't know, right? And what lies down there in the ocean, thousands of meters below. I don't want to know. Lovecraft had a super weird life. He was also obsessed with his mom. Obsessed how? Do I even want to know? Like Oedipus? As in... I don't know. I don't really... That's a little too much information for me. I'm good. I don't want to know about his weird obsession with his mother. So much of the ocean is unexplored. God knows what's out there. Yeah. You're afraid of black water. Is that what's black water? What is... Okay, let me search up black water. Black water. I don't... What? I don't know what black water is. You don't even know how to swim. The moment you can't touch the floor, it's over for you. Oh no, Rosa. It's okay. That's okay. That's why we have what's it called? Life vests. Drinking some more water, sorry. Black water, is that related to black ice? Black ice, isn't that just a sheet of ice that you can't see because of like asphalt, cement, or concrete or whatever? And you just slide. Very slippery. Or is that black ice? I'm pretty sure that's what black ice is. Yeah, okay. Lovecraft's most famous creation is Cthulhu, a giant octopus man. Well, there are games that are... There are games about Cthulhu, right? Call of Cthulhu. Maybe the translation is bad. Blackwater is in a lot of horror pics. As the name suggests, it is just black water. It terrifies you. So yeah, so I'm assuming that means it's just the deep, deep, dark ocean, right? Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. That's, yeah, the horrors of just very deep water where there's no light. That is black water. You're German, so please forgive you if sometimes what you say does not make sense. No. Your English is totally good. I don't think anything hasn't made sense so far. But maybe there's a different word for it in German for like pitch blackness. I mean, I think it makes sense, black water. It just, you can't see anything and you're underwater. Pretty sure it's just dark colored water. Maybe, well, I don't think it's not, it doesn't really describe what is it, murky swamp water, right? Because that's more brownish and just gross compared to, I would say, black water. Okay, what am I reading next? White with red? Is that what we're doing? Somebody said white with red, right? Let me read this. Is this really short? Oh, it's really short. It's really short. Didn't black bottled water become kind of a thing in social media? Black bottled water. As in the water. Wait. Aren't there a lot of black water bottles? I mean, my water bottle is black. Seas darkened water. Oh dear God, it's black water. I'm going insane. Nah, nah, nah. It's not dirty water, it's dark water. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, very, very deep in the ocean. Okay. I will now read White with Red. Is this also... Oh, it's creepypasta, right? Okay, okay. So no BGM for creepypasta. A man went to a hotel and walked up to the front desk to check in. The woman at the desk gave him his key and told him that on the way to his room, there was a door with no number that was locked and no one was allowed in there. She explained that it was a storeroom and that it was out of bounds. She reminded him of this several times before allowing him to go upstairs. So he followed the instructions of the woman at the front desk, going straight to his room and going to bed. However, the insistence of the woman had piqued his curiosity, so the next night he walked down the hall to the door and tried the handle. Sure enough, it was locked. He bent down and looked through the wide keyhole. Cold air passed through it, chilling his eye. What he saw was a hotel bedroom like his, and in the corner was a woman whose skin was incredibly pale. She was leaning her head against the wall, facing away from the door. He stared in confusion for a while. Was this a celebrity? The owner's daughter? He almost knocked on the door out of curiosity, but decided not to. As he was still looking, the woman turned sharply and he jumped back from the door, hoping she would not suspect he had been spying on her. He crept away from the door and walked back to his room. The next day, he returned to the door and looked through the wide keyhole. This time, all he saw was redness. He couldn't make anything out besides a distinct red color, unmoving. Perhaps the inhabitants of the room knew he was spying the night before and had blocked the keyhole with something red. He felt embarrassed that he had made the woman so uncomfortable and hoped she had not made a complaint with the woman on the front desk. At this point, he decided to consult her for more information. She sighed and said, "Did you look through the keyhole?" The man told her that he had, and she said, "Well, I might as well tell you the story of what happened in that room. A long time ago, a man murdered his wife in there, and we find that even now, whoever stays there gets very uncomfortable. But these people were not ordinary. They were white all over, except for their eyes, which were red." That wasn't that bad. That's a creepypasta? Really? Hmm. Subnautica enters the combo. Yeah, this is why I do not play Subnautica, because I've watched Subnautica and there are fucking jump scares with the huge sea creatures and stuff. Like, fuck this game. I'm not playing this. Are you also reading, Kazu? Also, hi. Hello, Kazu Beans. We are indeed still reading. Still doing some English here. Some reading. Like bottled water, but with activated charcoal, so it's black. What? What? Huh? Is that... That sounds... That doesn't sound like it's good for you. Is that supposed to be that's good for you? Really? What? I don't know. Subnautica is the only horror game you can play? Wow, I mean, really? I don't know. The brand for that water is BOK. Ah, okay, okay. It's fun. Subnautica is a great game. I just hate anything with jump scares, and I've been jump scared before by it, so I'm like, fuck this. It's a natural detox or something. Ah, okay, okay. The charcoal health trend. Haha, I will stick to my water from the local well. Yeah, yeah. I'll stick to. I don't know. I'll stick to. I'll stick to tap water, and then boiling the tap water, and then drinking boiled water. So that probably most of the whatever germs and shit are killed. That's the Asian way of doing things. Get the water and you boil it. Stick to your water filter, yeah. Purification, water purification. Dogs can vomit. Did you mean horses? Have you guys all been getting recommended that video starting from, I don't know, a week or two ago? Speaking of horses, where it's like horse kicks tree, farts on dog, and runs away. Have you guys been getting that that recommended? That video? I've gotten it recommended even though I've already watched it. It sounds like 20 million views. It's super short, 30 seconds. What does that sound? What happened? Oh, I think you might be hearing my sister, maybe? My sister is taking a shower right now. So that's probably why you can... I think she probably just got back from work. And because of COVID and stuff, usually when we go outside, we come back, we shower first. I believe it is my sister. Yeah. No, Malzuna, sadly. If you remember correctly, if you crawl correctly, charcoal stuff is bad for your teeth. Don't get the cavities. Yeah, if you hear like, it might have been the water, the turning of the knob. Not something summoned by reading Lovecraft. No, it is. I assure you, there is no Chihulu in my bathroom right now. We got everything we expected in that video 1010. Yeah, there was this one comment where it's like or was it magnificent or like outstanding? No bullshit. Saw the kick, heard the fart. Outstanding. What if it's another thing and not your sis? No, I'm pretty sure it's my sis. Yo, I still need to I still need to plan a stream where my sister comes on and chills with us, maybe. Sister, is this that Folger's parody commercial? No. It's Cthulhu? Is it not? What was I pronouncing it as? Oh yeah, somebody earlier said it's not Satan, it was Satin. Satin. I think I read it as Satan. Ooh, sibling stream? Yeah, sibling stream. Call of Chahulu. Was I saying Chahulu? Chahulu. Chahulu. Cthulhu. Chahulu. We like her so much she becomes the next member of Tin Dream. Yo, my sister can replace me. Satin is a fabric. Ah, I didn't know that. Well, I think I was just reading it and I saw an A instead of an I. Satan. Satin. I don't know my fabrics. Like in chaos. Chaos. Cthulhu. Did you and your sis prank each other often as younglings? Prank each other? Not really. I think I got bullied more as young. All I did was get bullied when I was younger. Up till, I don't know, a certain age probably. Up till maybe 7 or 8. So, not like bullied, just playful sibling bullied. A little brother vibes, yeah. She was older. And then growing up happened. And the bullying stopped. Your son is small IRL, I can't take this anymore. Wait, what do you mean? Your actual son or me? Because I know you call me son a lot, Dan. Or was I the youngest? Yes, I am. I am the youngest, and my sister is the oldest. As there is only two of us, there can only be one oldest and one youngest. Are we doing Pickman's model? I feel like that got lost there. Oh, right. By Lovecraft, Pickman's model. Let me read it. Okay. Can't believe your son is small. Oh, son. Yeah. So you're talking about me. Okay. Do I need a hug? No. I'm good. My sister's cool. Very cool. Okay. I'm going to read now Pickman's Model by H.P. Lovecraft. You needn't think I'm crazy, Elliot. Plenty of others have queerer prejudices than this. Why don't you laugh at Oliver's grandfather, who won't ride in a motor? If I don't like that damn subway, it's my own business. And we got here more quickly anyhow in the taxi. We've had to walk up the hill from Park Street if we'd taken the car. I know I'm more nervous than I was when you saw me last year, but you don't need to hold a clinic over it. There's plenty of reason. God knows, and I fancy I'm lucky to be sane at all. Why the third degree? You didn't used to be so inquisitive. Well, if you must hear it, I don't know why you shouldn't. Maybe you ought to, anyhow, for you kept writing me like a grieved parent when you heard I begun to cut the art club. Oh, whoa. What just happened? My monitor just blacked out. Hold on. I need to restart it maybe? Okay, it's back. That was weird. Okay, where was I? Maybe you ought to anyhow. For you kept writing me like a grieved parent when you heard I begun to cut the art club and keep away from Pickman. Now that he's disappeared, I go around to the club once in a while, but my nerves aren't what they were. No, I don't know what's become of Pickman, and I don't like to guess. Is it Pickman or Pickman? Pickman. You might have surmised I had some inside information when I dropped him, and that's why I don't want to think where he's gone. Let the police find what they can. It won't be much, judging from the fact that they don't know yet of the old North End place he hired under the name of Peters. I'm not sure that I could find it again myself. Not that I'd ever try, even in broad daylight. Yes, I do know, or I'm afraid I know, why he maintained it. I'm coming to that. And I think you'll understand before I'm through why I don't tell the police. They would ask me to guide them, but I couldn't go back there even if I knew the way. There was something there, and now I can't use the subway or, and you may as well have your laugh at this too, go down into the cellars anymore. I should think you have known I didn't drop Pickman for the same silly reasons that fussy old women like Dr. Reed or Joe Minot or Bosworth did. Morbid art doesn't shock me, and when a man has a genius Pickman had, I feel it an honor to know him, no matter what direction his work takes. Boston never had a greater painter than Richard Upton Pickman. I said it at first, and I say it still, and I never swerved an inch either when he shooted that goal feeding. That, you remember, was when Minot cut him. You know, it takes profound art and profound insight into nature to turn out stuff like Pickman's. Any magazine cover hack can splash paint around Wiley and call it a nightmare or a witch's Sabbath or a portrait of the devil, but only a great painter can make such a thing really scare or ring true. That's because only a real artist knows the actual anatomy of the terrible or the of physiology of fear, the exact sort of lines and proportions that connect up with latent instincts or hereditary memories of fright, and the proper color contrasts and lighting effects to stir the dormant sense of strangeness. I don't have to tell you why a facility really brings a shiver, while a cheap ghost story while a cheap ghost story front piece merely makes us laugh. There's something those fellows catch beyond life that they're able to make us catch for a second. Thor had it, Syme has it, Angarillo of Chicago has it, and Pickman had it as no man ever had it before, or, I hope to heaven, ever will again. Don't ask me what it is they see. You know, in ordinary art, there's all the difference in the world between the vital, breathing things drawn from nature, or models, and the artificial truck that commercial small fry reel off in a bare studio by rule. Well, I should say that the really weird artist has a kind of vision which makes models, or summons up what amounts to actual scenes from the spectral world he lives in. Anyhow, he manages to turn out results that differ from the pretender's mince pie dreams in just about the same way that the life's painter results differ from the concoctions of a correspondence school cartoonist. If I had ever seen what Pickman saw, but no. Here, let's have a drink before we get any deeper. I wouldn't be alive if I'd ever seen what that man, if he was a man, saw. You recall that Pickman's forte was faces. I don't believe anybody since Goya could put so much of sheer hell into a set of features or a twist of expression. And before Goya, you had to go back to the medieval chaps who did the gargoyles and chimeras on Notre Dame and Mont Saint Michel. They believed all sorts of things, and maybe they saw all sorts of things too, for the Middle Ages had some curious faces. I remember you asking Pickman once yourself, the year before you went away, wherever in thunder he got such ideas and visions. Wasn't that a nasty laugh he gave you? It was partly because of that laugh that Reed dropped him. Reed, had just taken up comparative pathology and was full of pompous inside stuff about the biological or evolutionary significance of this or that mental. He said Pickman repelled him more and more every day and almost frightened him toward the last. The fellow's features and expression were slowly developing in a way he didn't like, in a way that wasn't human. He had a talk about diet and said Pickman must be abnormal and eccentric to the last degree. I suppose you told Reed, if you and he had any correspondence over it, that he let Pickman's paintings get on his nerves or harrow up his imagination. I know I told him myself that then. But keep in mind that I didn't drop Pickman for anything like this. On the contrary, my admiration for him kept growing, for that goal feeding was a tremendous achievement. As you know, the club wouldn't exhibit it, and the Museum of Fine Arts wouldn't accept it as a gift. And I can add that nobody would buy it. So Pickman had it right in his house till he went. Now his father has it in Salem. You know Pickman comes of old Salem stock and had a witch ancestor hanged in 1692. Ooh, the Salem witch trials. I got into the habit of calling on Pickman quite often, especially after I began making notes for a monograph on weird art. Probably it was his work which put the idea into my head, and anyhow, I found him a main of data and suggestions when I came to develop it. He showed me all the paintings and drawings he had about, including some pen and ink sketches that would, I verily believe, have got him kicked out of the club if many of the members had seen them. Before long, I was pretty nearly a devotee and would listen for hours like a schoolboy to art theories and philosophic speculations wild enough to qualify him for the Danvers Asylum. My hero worship, coupled with the fact that people generally were commencing to have less and less to do with him, made him get very confidential with me, and one evening he hinted that if I were fairly close-mouthed and none too squeamish, he might shoot me at something rather unusual, something a bit stronger than anything he had in the house. You know, he said, there are things I won't do for Newbury Street, things that are out of the place here and that can't be conceived here. It's my business to catch the overtones of the soul, and you won't find those in a set of artificial streets on made land. Back Bay isn't there. Back Bay isn't Boston. It isn't anything yet, because it's had no time to pick up memories and attract local spirits. If there are any ghosts here, they're the tame ghosts of Salt Marsh and a shallow cove. And I want human ghosts, the ghosts of beings highly organized enough to have looked on hell and know the meaning of what they saw. The place for an artist to live is the North End. If any aesthete were sincere, he'd put up with the slums for the sake of the mass traditions. God, man, don't you realize that places like that weren't merely made, but actually grew? Generation after generation lived and felt and died there, and in days when people weren't afraid to live and feel and die. Don't you know there was a mill on Copp's Hill in 1632, and that half the present streets were laid out by 1650? I can show you houses that have stood 2 centuries and a half and more, houses that have witnessed what could make a modern house crumble into powder. What do moderns know of life and the forces behind it? You call the Salem witchcraft a delusion, but I'll wager my 4 times great-grandmother could have told you things. They hanged her on Gallows Hill, with Cotton Mather looking sanctimoniously on. Mather, damn him, was afraid somebody might succeed in kicking free of this accursed cage of monotony. I wish someone had laid a spell on him, or sucked his blood in the night. I can show you a house he lived in, and I can show you another one he was afraid to enter, in spite of all his fine, bold talk. He knew things he didn't dare put into that stupid magnolia, or that pearl wonders of the invisible world. Look here. Do you know the whole North End once had a set of tunnels that kept certain people in touch with each other's houses, and the burying ground and the sea? Let them prosecute and persecute above ground. Things went on every day that they couldn't reach, and voices laugh at night that they couldn't place. Why, man? Out of 10 surviving houses built before 1700, and not moved since I'll wager that in 8, I can show you something queer in the cellar. There's hardly a month that you don't read of workmen finding bricked up arches and wells leading nowhere in this or that old place as it comes down. You could see one near Henchman, a street from the elevated last year. There were witches and what their spell summoned, pirates and what they had brought in from the sea, smugglers, privateers, and I tell you, people knew how to live and how to enlarge the bounds of life in the old times. This wasn't the only world a bold and wise man could know. And to think of today in contrast, with such pale ink brains that even a club of supposed artists get shudders and convulsions if a picture goes beyond the feelings of a Beacon Street tea table. The only saving grace of the present is that it's too damn stupid to question the past very closely. What do maps and records and guidebooks really tell of the North End? Bah, at a guess, I'll guarantee it leads you to 30 or 40 alleys and networks of alleys north of Prince Street that aren't suspected by 10 living beings outside of the foreigners that swarm them. And what do those Dagoos know of their meaning? No, Thurber, these ancient places are dreaming gorgeously and overflowing with wonder and terror and escapees from the commonplace, and yet there's not a living soul to understand or profit by them. Or rather, there's only one living soul, for I haven't been digging around in the past for nothing. See here, you're interested in this sort of thing. What if I told you that I've got another studio up there, where I can catch the night spirit of antique horror and paint things that I couldn't even think of in Newbury Street? Naturally, I don't tell those cursed old maids at the club, with Reed, damn him, whispering even as it is that I'm a sort of monster bound down by the toboggan of reverse evolution. Yes, Thurber, I decided long ago that one must paint terror as well as beauty from life, so I did some exploring in places where I had reason to know terror lives. I've got a place that I don't believe 3 living Nordic men besides myself have ever seen. It isn't so very far from the elevated as distance goes, but it's centuries away as the soul goes. I took it because of the queer old brick wall in the cellar, one of the sort I told you about. The shack's almost tumbling down so that nobody else would live there, and I hate to tell you how little I pay for it. The windows are boarded up, but I like that all the better since I don't want daylight for what I do. I paint in the cellar, where the inspiration is thickest, but I've other rooms furnished on the ground floor. A Sicilian owns it, and I've hired it under the name of Peters. Now, if you're game, I'll take you there tonight. I think you enjoyed the pictures, for I said I've let myself go a bit there. It's not a vast tour. I sometimes do it on foot, for I don't want to attract attention with a taxi in such a place. We can take the shuttle at the South Station for Battery Street, and after that the walk is not much. Well, Elliot, there wasn't much for me to do after that, but to keep myself from running instead of walking for the first vacant cab we could sight. We changed to the elevated at the South Station, and at about 12 o'clock I climbed down the steps at Battery Street and struck along the old waterfront past Constitution Wharf. I didn't keep track of the cross streets, and can't tell you yet which it was as we turned up, but I knew it wasn't Greenough Lane. When we did turn, it was to climb through the deserted length of the oldest and dirtiest alley I ever saw in my life, with crumbling-looking gables, broken small pane windows, and archaic chimneys that stood out half disintegrated against the moonlit sky. I don't believe there were 3 houses in sight that hadn't been standing in Cotton Mather's time. Certainly, I glimpsed at least 2 with an overhang, and once I thought I saw a peaked roofline of the almost forgotten pre-gambrel type through antiquarians tell us there are none left in Boston. From that alley, which had a dim light, we turned to the left into an equally silent and still narrower narrower alley with no light at all, and in a minute made what I think was an obtuse angled bend toward the right in the dark. Not long after this, Pickman produced a flashlight and revealed an antediluvian 10-panel door that looked damnably worm-eaten. Unlocking it, he ushered me into a barren hallway with what was once splendid dark oak paneling. Simple, of course, but thrillingly suggestive of the times of Andros and Phipps and the witchcraft. Then he took me through a door on the left, lighted an oil lamp, and told me to make myself at home. Now, Elliot, I'm what the man in the street would call fairly hard-boiled, but I'll confess that what I saw on the walls of that room gave me a bad turn. They were his pictures, you know, the ones he couldn't paint or even show in Newbury Street, and he was right when he said that he had let himself go. Here, have another drink. I need one anyhow. There's no use in my trying to tell you what they were like, because the awful, the blasphemous horror, and the unbelievable loathsomeness and moral falter come from simple touches quite beyond the power of words to classify. There was none of the exotic technique you see in Sydney Syme, none of the Trans-Centurion landscapes and lunar fungi that Clark Ashton Smith uses to freeze the blood. The backgrounds were mostly old churchyards, deep woods, cliffs by the sea, brick tunnels, ancient paneled rooms, or simple vaults of masonry. Copp's Hill burying ground, which could not be seen many blocks away from this very house, was a favorite scene. The madness and monstrosity lay in the figures in the foreground, where Pickman's morbid art was preeminently one of demonic portraiture. These figures were seldom completely human, but often approached humanity in varying degree. Most of the bodies, while roughly bipedal, had a forward, slumping, and a vaguely canine cast. The texture of the majority was a kind of unpleasant rubberiness. Ugh, I can see them now. Their occupations. Well, don't ask me to be too precise. They were usually feeding, I won't say on what. They were sometimes shown in groups in cemeteries or underground passages, and often appear to be in battle over their prey, or rather, their treasure trove. And what damnable expressiveness Pickman sometimes gave the slightest faces of this charnel booty. Occasionally, the things were shewn leaping through open windows at night, or squatting on the chests of sleepers, whirring at their throats. One canvas shewed a ring of them baying about a hanged witch on Gallows Hill, whose dead face held a close kinship to theirs. But don't get the idea that it was all this hideous business of theme and setting which struck me faint. I'm not a 3-year-old kid, and I've seen much like this before. It was the faces. Elliot, those accursed faces that leered and slavered out of the canvas with the very breath of life. By God, man, I believe they were alive. That nauseous wizard had waked the fires of hell in Pickman, and his brush had been a nightmare-spawning wand. Give me that decanter, Elliot. There was one thing called the lesson. Heaven pity me that I ever saw it. Listen, can you fancy a squatting circle of nameless dog-like things in a churchyard teaching a small child how to feed like themselves? The price of a changeling, I suppose. You know, the old myth about how the weird people leave their spawn in cradles in exchange for the human babies they steal. Pickman was showing what happens to those stolen babies, how they grew up, and then I began to see a hideous relationship in the faces of the human and non-human figures. He was in all his gradations of morbidity between the frankly non-human and the greatly human, establishing a sardonic linkage in evolution. The dog things were developed from mortals, and no sooner I had wondered what he made of their own young as left of mankind in the form of changelings than my eye caught a picture embodying that very thought. It was that of an ancient Puritan interior, a heavily beamed room with lattice windows, a settle, and clumsy 17th century furniture, with the family sitting about while the lather read from the scriptures. Every face but one shewed nobility and reverence, but that one reflected the mockery of the pit. It was that of a young man in years, and no doubt belonging to a supposed son of that father, but in essence, it was akin of the unclean things. It was their changeling, and in a spirit of supreme irony, Pickman had given the features a very perceptible resemblance to his own. By this time, Pickman had lighted a lamp in an adjoining room and was politely holding open the door for me, asking me if I would care to see his modern studies. I hadn't been able to give him much of my opinions. I was too speechless with fright and loathing, but I think he fully understood and felt highly complimented. And now I want to assure you again, Elliot, that I'm no mollycoddle to scream at anything which shows a bit of departure from the usual. I'm middle-aged and decently sophisticated, and I guess you saw enough of me in France to know I'm not easily knocked out. Remember, I just about recovered my wind and gotten used to those frightful pictures which turned colonial New England into a kind of annex of hell. Well, in spite of all this, that next room forced a real scream out of me, and I had to clutch at the doorway to keep from keeling over. The other chamber had shown a pack of ghouls and witches overrunning the world of our forefathers, but this one brought the horror right into our own daily life. Gah, how that man could paint. There was a study called Subway Accident, in which a flock of the vile things were clambering up from some unknown catacomb through a crack in the floor of the Boston Street subway and attacking a crowd of people on the platform. Another showed a dance on Copp's Hill among the tombs of the background of today. Then there were any number of cellar views with monsters creeping in through holes and rifts in the masonry and grinning as they squatted behind barrels or furnaces and waited for the first victim to descend the stairs. One disgusting canvas seemed to depict a vast cross-section of Beacon Hill, with ant-like armies of the mephitic monsters squeezing themselves through burrows that honeycombed the ground be more than all the rest. A scene in an unknown vault, where scores of the beasts crowded about one who had a well-known Boston guidebook and was evidently reading loud. All were pointing to a certain passage, and every face seemed so distorted with epileptic and reverberant laughter that I almost thought I heard the fiendish echoes. The title of this picture was Holmes, Lowell, and Longfellow lie buried in Mount Auburn. As I gradually steadied myself and got readjusted to the second room of deviltry and morbidity, I began to analyze some of the points in my sickening loathing. In the first place, I said to myself, these things repelled because of the utter inhumanity and callous cruelty that they showed in Pickman. The fellow must be a relentless enemy of all mankind to take such glee in the torture of men. Glee in the torture of brain and flesh and the degradation of the mortal tenement. In the second place, they terrified because of their very demeanor themselves and were afraid of them. And the queer part was that Pickman got none of his power from the use of selectiveness or bizarre. Nothing was blurred, distorted, or conventionalized. Outlines were sharp and lifelike, details were almost painfully defined, and the faces. It was not any mere artist's interpretation that we saw. It was pandemonium itself, crystal clear in stark objectivity. That was it. The man was not a fantasy or a romanticist at all. He did not even try to give us the churning, prismatic ephemera of dreams, but coldly and sardonically reflected some stable, mechanistic, and well-established horror world which he saw fully, brilliantly, squarely, and unfalteringly. God knows what could have been, or where he had glimpsed the blasphemous shapes that loped and trotted and crawled through it, but whatever the baffling source of his images, one thing was plain. Pickman was in every sense, in conception and in execution, a thorough, painstaking, and almost scientific realist. My host was now leading the way down cellar to his actual studio, and I braced myself for some hellish effects among the unfinished canvases. As we reached the bottom of the damp stairs, he turned his flashlight to a corner of the large open space at hand, revealing the circular brick curb of what was evidently a great well in the earthen floor. We walked nearer, and I saw that it must be 5 feet across, with walls a good foot thick and some 6 inches above the ground level. Solid work of the 17th century, or I was much mistaken. That, Pickman said, was the kind of thing he had been idly talking about, an aperture of the network of tunnels that used to undermine the hill. I noticed that it did not seem to be bricked up, and that a heavy disc of wood formed the apparent cover. Thinking of the things this well must have been connected to, with Pickman's wild hints, had not been more rhetoric. I shivered slightly, then turned to follow him up a step. and through a narrow door into a room of fair size, provided with a wooden floor and furnished as a studio. An acetylene gas outfit gave them light necessity for work. Sorry, let me drink some water. The unfinished pictures on easels or propped against the walls were as ghastly as the finished ones upstairs, and showing the painstaking methods of the artist. Scenes were blocked out with extreme care, and penciled guidelines told of the minute exactitude which Pickman used in getting the right perspective and proportions. The man was great. I say it even now. Knowing as much as I do, a large camera on a table excited my notice, and Pickman told me that he used it in taking scenes for backgrounds, so that he might paint them from photographs in the studio instead of carting his outfit around the town for this or that view. He thought a photograph quite as good as an actual scene or model for sustained work, and declared he employed them regularly. There was something very disturbing about the nauseous sketches and half-finished monstrosities that leered around from every side of the room. And when Pickman suddenly unveiled a huge canvas on the side away from the light, I could not for my life keep back a loud scream. The second I had emitted that night, it echoed and echoed throughout the dim vaultings of that ancient and nitrous cellar, and I had to choke back a flood of reaction that threatened to burst out as hysterical laughter. Merciful Creator! Elliot, but I don't know how much was real and how much was feverish fancy. It doesn't seem to me that Earth can hold a dream like that. It was a colossal and nameless blasphemy with glaring red eyes, and it held in bony claws a thing that had been a man gnawing at the head as a child nibbles at a stick of candy. Its position was a kind of crouch, and as one looked, one felt at any moment it might just drop its present prey and seek a juicier morsel. But damn it all, it wasn't even the fiendish subject that made it such an immortal fountainhead of all panic. Not that, nor the dog face with its mountain pointed ears, bloodshot eyes, flat nose, and drooling lips. It wasn't the scaly claws, nor the mold-caked body, nor the half-hooed feet, none of these, though any of them might well have driven an excitable man to madness. It was the technique, Elliot. The cursed and impious, the unnatural technique. As I am a living being, I never elsewhere saw the actual breath of life so fused into a canvas. The monster was there. It glared and gnawed and glared, and I knew that only a suspension of nature's laws could ever let a man paint a thing like this. Without a model. Without some glimpse of the netherworld which no mortal unsold to the fiend has ever seen, or ever had. Pinned with a thumbtack to a vacant part of the canvas was a piece of paper, now badly curled up. Probably, I thought, a photograph from which Pickman meant to paint a background as hideous as the nightmare it was to enhance. I reached out to uncurl and look at it, when suddenly I saw Pickman start as if shot. He had been listening with peculiar intensity ever since my shocked scream, though not comparable to my own. Had in it more of the physical than of the spiritual. He drew a revolver and motioned me to silence, and then stepped out into the main cellar and closed the door behind him. I think I was paralyzed for an instant. Imitating Pickman's listening, I fancied I heard a faint scurrying sound somewhere, and a series of squeal or bleats in a direction I couldn't determine. I thought of huge rats and shuddered. Then there came a subdued sort of clatter which somehow set me all in goosefish, a furtive, groping kind of clatter, though I can't attempt to convey what I mean in words. It was like a heavy wood falling on stone or brick, wood on brick. What did that make me think of? It came again and louder. There was a vibration as if the wood had fallen further than it had fallen before. After that, a sharp grating noise, a shouted gibberish from Pickman, and the deafening discharge of all 6 chambers of a revolver, fired spectacularly as a lion tamer might fire in the air for effect. A muffled squeal or squawk and a thud. Then more wood and brick grating, a pause, and the opening of the door, at which I'll confess I started violently. Pickman reappeared with his smoking weapon, cursed the bloated rats that infested the ancient wall. The deuce knows what they eat, Thurber, he grinned. For those archaic tunnels touch graveyard and Wishden and seacoast. But whatever it is, they must have run short, for they were devilish, anxious to get out. Your yelling stirred them up. I fancy. Better be cautious in these old places. Our rodent friends are the ones who draw back, though I sometimes think they're a positive asset by each of atmosphere and color. Well, Elliot, that was the end of the night's adventure. Pickman had promised to show me the place, and heaven knows he had done it. He led me out of that tangle of alleys in another direction. It seems for when he sighted a lamppost, we were in a half-familiar street with monotonous rows of mingled tenement blocks and old houses. Charter Street, it turned out to be, but I was too flustered to notice just where we hit it. We were too late for the elevated and walked back downtown through Hanover Street. I remember that walk. We switched from Tremont up Beacon, and Pickman left me at the corner of Joy, where I walked off. Never spoke to him again. Why did I drop him? Don't be impatient. Wait till I ring for coffee. We've had enough of the other stuff, but I for one need something. No, it wasn't the paintings I saw in that place, though I swear they were enough to get him ostracized in 9/10 of the homes and clubs of Boston. And I guess you won't wonder now why I have to steer clear of subways and cellars. It was something I found in my coat the next morning. You know, the curled up paper tacked to that frightful canvas in the cellar. The thing I thought was a photograph of some scene he meant to use as a background filter for that monster. That last square had come while I was reaching to uncurl it, and it seems I had vacantly crumpled it into my pocket. But here's the coffee. Take it black, Elliot, if you're wise. Yes, that paper was the reason I dropped Pickman. Richard Upton Pickman, the greatest artist I have ever known, and the foulest being that ever leaped the bounds of life into the pits of myth and madness. Elliot, old Reed was right. He wasn't strictly human. Either he was born in strange shadow, or he found a way to unlock the gates. Unlock the forbidden gate. It's all the same now, for he's gone, back into the fabulous darkness he loved to paint. Let's have the chandelier going. Don't ask me to explain or even conjecture about what I burned. Don't ask me either what lay behind that mole like scrambling Pickman was so keen to pass off as rats. There are secrets, which might have come down from old Salem times, and Cotton Mather tells even stranger things. You know how damn lifelike Pickman's paintings were. How we were all wondering where he got those faces. Well, that paper wasn't a photograph or any keyboard, after all. What it showed was simply the monstrous being he was painting on that awful canvas. It was the model he was using. And its background was merely the wall of the cellar studio in minute detail. But by God, Elliot, it was a photograph from life. Holy moly, that was also really long. You cannot tell me Pickman isn't Lovecraft. They're painting their stories in different ways. Oh, Pickman's stories are long AF. So many paragraphs. My throat. Ugh. Keep drinking. Still, it was interesting. Pickman saw truly unspeakable horrors and was able to nail the intense atmosphere from the things he saw. Okay, maybe one more shorter story, and that might be all for today's stream, because I do still have. Remember, we still have Tsundream collab at night. We're playing Uno. I think the plan is to play Uno. 4 people play Uno, and then 1 person will be like shoutcasting. So I think it'll be really funny. Unless we can all play. I don't know if we can play 5-player Uno. We might be able to. I'm not sure. But it would be funny if it was 4-player Uno and somebody was with shoutcasting. So, anyways, let us Uno of all things. Isn't it only 4-player? Yeah, I think it's only 4 players. So we can, one person will we'll swap out in and out, and you only miss 1 game before going back in. But or we just play, I don't know how long the collab's gonna be. Play like a full playthrough, maybe 2 full playthroughs, 5 games, 10 games, and then that's how it'll work. Son, please don't commit murder. You can't commit murder in Uno. You can't commit murder in Uno, I don't think. GG pulled 100 votes, Tascado. Yeah, I didn't realize I still had it on. That's my bad. I still had it on. One has to make funny commentary like a sportscaster. Yeah, that's the plan. I think all of us are going to try our best cast it as an esport or something. Not with that attitude, you can't. We're not gonna commit murder in Uno. Unless you, I guess you can, right? You just keep on, just stack the wild card. Stack the +4s, +2s on one person. Make them suffer. Group murder. Group homicide. Shoutcasting esports Uno. Exactly. You've never seen an esport as ready as Uno. Uno was made for esports. Dan is stressed right now. His son is going to commit murder in Uno of all things. That'll be my goal now. I will make somebody suffer with my plus cards on purpose. Like, I'm not even gonna try to win the game. I'm just gonna try to have them give them as many cards as possible. Sun already kills everything in Darkwood. Last we need is him trying to murder his gem mates with the +4 card. No, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It'll be amazing. It'll be great. Okay. Is there anything else to read? Anything else that maybe is a bit shorter? Cause is gonna bluff +4. I can't bluff, right? I can't really bluff it. I could bluff it, but I also want to not bluff it. I want to play it. This is getting me pumped up. I'm ready to +4 Tomo and a +4 Nen. It'll be great. Okay, I don't know what else to read. What else is there to read? Something that's a little shorter, maybe. Any funny cost? Is there any? Can we read? Should I read some copy pastas with meme funny ones? What are some funny copy pastas? I don't know. Let me check some. Let me check some out. Oh my god! Of course, the first one that comes up is the Navy SEALs one. Vaporeon. Okay. Vaporeon. Oh, from... Wait, Vaporeon or Vaporeon? Make a copy pasta rap? It'd be funny if I won Uno by not even touching the +4 cards. You know, if I get a hand or I get no +4s and I still win, that'll happen. But I think it's pretty hard to not get a single +4 off of an Uno run. Not Vaporeon. Okay? I don't think I even know the Pokemon Vaporeon copy pasta. All right, let me go search it up. Hey guys. Oh boy. Whoa. We're getting into some weird territory here. What in the world is this? Should I read it? Cover your eyes, son. I mean, it's too late. I already read this. Susan is squinting right now. Susan's sending in the bots over here to call my reading session. Read it? Okay. Hey guys. Did you know that in terms of male human and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans? Not only are they in the field egg group, which is mostly comprised of mammals, Vaporeon are an average of 3 feet 3 inches tall and 63.9 pounds. This means they're large enough to be able to handle human carrots, and with their impressive base stats for HP and access to acid armor, you can be rough with one. Due to their mostly water-based biology, there's no doubt in my mind that an aroused Vaporeon would be incredibly wet. So wet that you could easily have sex with one for hours without getting sore. They can also learn the moves Attract, Baby Doll Eyes, God, I can't read this without cracking up, Captivate, Charm, and Tail Whip, along with not having fur to hide nipples, so it'd be incredibly easy for one to get you in the mood. With their abilities water absorb and hydration, they can easily recover from fatigue with enough water. No other Pokemon comes close to this level of compatibility. Also, fun fact, if you pull out enough, you can make your Vaporeon turn white. Vaporeon is literally built for human dick. Ungodly defense stat plus high HP pool plus acid armor means it can take cock all day, all shapes and sizes, and still come for more. Oh, what is this copy pasta? Sounds like something out of South Park. Danny? Oh, dude, I can't do any South Park voices. I can't do a good South Park voice. But there. That was good. You're one octave away from the creepy dude from The Simpsons. At least I'm not the creepy dude from The Simpsons, right? I thought I'd be sleeping and now I'm just here saying, what the fuck? Hello, what am I hearing? Vaporeon, copy pasta. Oh my god, oh no. Oh no. There's the uwu version of this too. I can't read this. Not the uwu version of Vaporeon copy pasta. Oh. Baby doll eyes became baby doll eyes. Baby doll. Charm, Tail Whip, along with not having fun to hide nipples. Ungawi. Oh god, uwu voice? Nah, not the uwu, please. Not the uwu. Oh, somebody made a Flareon copy pasta. That's wholesome. Okay. Next copy pasta. Oh my god, why is everything is like I like how some of these are just roasts. Send help the way you stop drawing out of confusion. I'm sorry, you have to listen to my Vaporeon copy pasta reading. You stop your no-hit Dead Cells run for this? Oh, you're insane. Dead Cells, no hits. That would be really tough. Okay. My grandfather smoked his whole life. I was about 10 years old when my mother said to him, "If you ever want to see your grandchildren graduate, you have to stop immediately." Tears welled up in his eyes when he realized what exactly was at stake. He gave it up immediately. 3 years later, he died of lung cancer. It was really sad and destroyed me. My mother said to me, "Don't ever smoke. Please don't put your family through what your grandfather put us through." I agreed. At 28, I have never touched a cigarette. I must say, I feel a very slight sense of regret for never having done it, because your post gave me cancer anyways. when you roast somebody as the copy pasta. when you disagree. This the internet in a nutshell. When you disagree with somebody's opinion, your post gave me cancer. Your post sucks. I disagree. One of my favorite copy pastas is the League copy pasta that came, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I love that copy pasta, even though I haven't played League in so long. The League copy pasta is the best. Oh my god. It's so oof League. Yeah. As a European, it was always hard for me to understand. Your favorite copy pasta as well? I hate aluminum. You remember reading a book that the dude wanted to smoke, so the grandma locked in the car with a bunch of cigarettes and the dude almost died. What? Is that not attempted murder? Huh? That sounds like grandma wanted to kill somebody. As a European, it was always hard for me to understand American culture. What was fascinating for me is that they like bragging about their freedom, which is just weird for me, because I didn't think that I have any less freedom than them. I always thought, what's the difference? However, after this game, I finally understand. NA is just so free. Dude, this copy, whoever, I don't remember whoever made that, like, goddamn, started. That's a legendary copy pasta. Killed everybody in America, in NA, all our families. We have families. How could you do this to us? NA hits us with the NA is just so free. When NA sucks at League and has always sucked at League. Oof. Okay. Any other good copy pastas? Oh, I know Yuna sent a copy pasta for New Year's, and then all of us I can't read it on stream. Or can I? Hold on. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Is it not there anymore? Where'd it go? Hold on, chat. I will find it. And I will maybe read it. I don't think I can. I think Uro would kill me if I read it. You know, it's like, can I post this? And then she posts it in spoilers. And we're all like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What is this? Why did you post this? For New Year's. I don't, where is it? From Yuna. Where is this one? Let's see. Oh my god, I can't find it. Is it from New Year's? I believe it was from New Year's. You have questions of that creepypasta? Wait, which questions? Which questions? Oh, I found it. Okay, yeah, I definitely... I'm not reading this, never mind. It's worse than I remembered. Okay. Any other copy pasta? Oh, the not safer one? Yeah. Wait, did she share it? Did she talk about it? I didn't know she talked about it. I know, and she just sent it to us like randomly. We're all like, okay. I don't think I have anything else to read. I was gonna read Grim Fairy Tales, but now I don't know. Maybe just prep. I need to prep. I need to start playing Uno for 6 hours so I can dominate and murder everybody with my +4s. Play enough Uno to get all the bad RNG out of the way so that when actual Uno comes for stream, my RNG will show me the way and let me win. Man door hand hook car door. Man door hand hook car door. What is this? Isn't this the one that Purin read? Didn't Purin post a video on this one? Yeah, she did. Yeah, I remember this. She did. Purin read this. Like a 1 minute video of this just reading. Right? Should we listen to Purin? Here, let me turn off BGM. We'll listen to Purin read us.
Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop at a side of road. He turns to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much." "What is it, honey?" "Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel." "Okay. I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news report of stereos being stolen." "Good idea.
The
Keep
English.
no matter what."
The typos.
"Love you, sweaty." So the guy left to get full for the car. After 2 hours, the girl say, "Where is my baby? He was supposed to be back by now." Then the girl hear a scratching sound and voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and then after a while, she goes to sleep. The next morning, she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and man, door, hand, hook, car door.
Wow. Great. Okay. Great, nice background sounds. Yeah, Purin put in that edits. That extra editing. Insane. We respect it. That's some high quality ooh-like voice. I mean, that's a compliment to Purin, right? Purin. Oh. Okay. I think I'm done with the reading stream today. But if you guys like the reading streams, maybe I'll read some more next week. I'm glad I don't remember this. Oh right, hook car door. You call her pudding. That's cute. It was nice. Please more sometime. All right, yes, I will. I need to make a good time where I can send or share you guys, or what am I saying? Send you guys to sleep by reading. But not if I read copy pastas, because then I'm gonna be cracking up. Not. Ria, hello. It'd be fun, son. Okay. Well, we'll do maybe weekly reading streams or something. More reading. It's always reading's fun. I used to read a lot, and then I went from books to manga. Never looked back. Oh, for you it is 10 o'clock right now at night. No worries. Yeah, that is. Yeah, you said you're from Germany, right? Germany, so that is 6 hours. Time difference with me. I'm gonna be dreaming about copy pasta, so that happens. Love another one. You actually had a productive time drawing until the copy pasta once appeared. Yeah, if I'm just reading normal stuff, just focus on you can put me on in the background and do your work or something. Read 86 on stream. Do I have permission to do that? Probably. Maybe. Probably. Maybe. Maybe not. I would like to. I'd be sick. I don't have volume 9 yet, but I don't know. Wait, is volume 9 even? Is volume 9 out? Volume 9. Paperback. It comes out in a month. Okay. Comes back in a month. It's a children's book. Wait, which children's book? Cursed Wattpad stuff? Oh no. No. Oh, Go the Fuck to Sleep? I read Go to Fuck. Yeah, that was amazing. It was great. It was very funny. No worries if you missed it. It was the Lovecraft horror shorts were way longer than everything else I read. But the Go to Fuck to Sleep one is so good. I didn't know about it, but now I do. And I will share it with the others for sure. Anyways, chat, that is all from me today. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to hopefully check out the Uno collab with all of Sundream in 7 hours. It will be in 7 hours. So some of you, it will probably be around noonish or morning. And then for the others, it should be nighttime. And it's the weekend. So you have time, right? You're gonna come. You're gonna come watch us play Uno. And yes, watch the Uno VODs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For you, it's like 5 in the morning. That's go sleep, Johan. It's okay. So, Otsukazu from me. I will let you all go for now. I'll be streaming tomorrow and Sunday at the same time from today, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, that's all from me today. Have a good one, chat. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And I'll see you hopefully later and tomorrow. Bye-bye.